From Riverfront Stadium, it's the Seattle Seahawks versus the Cincinnati Bengals. Today's game is brought to you by Lincoln, what a luxury car should be. By Bud Light, the less filling light beer with the first name in taste. And by Prestone 2 Antifreeze. America goes with Prestone.
Riverfront Stadium, Cincinnati, Ohio, where today one of the NFL's power teams, the Seattle Seahawks, have come to play a team they've never beaten, the Cincinnati Bengals. It is a tough day in the Ohio Valley. A full-blown winter snowstorm has hit. Good afternoon, everyone. Don Cricky with Bob Trumpy. Mother Nature playing through with a vengeance today in southern Ohio. Chuck Knox, the coach of Seattle, doesn't like it, but says you've got to play the hand that's dealt you. Who does a bad weather hand favor, Trump?
Well, let's look at it this way. Seattle likes to play indoors. Look at their record indoors. Not only do they win indoors, generally when the weather is bad in Seattle, they also practice indoors. So this is a bad hand dealt to Seattle. Last week in a very emotional game, they beat the Raiders. They come here, they travel, bad weather. They play Denver next week. Look, this is not a good 3 weeks for the Seattle Seahawks.
The Seahawk coaches preach the turnover. They've made believers out of this football team. That's how Seattle's won 9 games. They are tough and swarming.
Don, I would certainly think that today is a turnover day. The Seahawks get them. The Cincinnati Bengals, through the first 5 games, gave them away. But in the last 6 games, Cincinnati's been pretty good at it. I tend to think both teams today would be scratching, grabbing, trying to get that ball away from their opponent.
The Cincinnati Bengals starting quarterback, Kenny Anderson, the longtime veteran, is sidelined with a shoulder injury. A Californian who doesn't like snow either starts in his place in Turk Schonert. How's he going to do, Trump?
Don, a comment about Ken Anderson, one of the best bad weather quarterbacks there is in the NFL, but Schonert, out of Stanford, the only game he's ever played in the snow, interestingly enough, was the Japan Bowl, the end of his senior year at Stanford. So he's never been out on the field as a starter in the snow. This is just the 4th start in his 5-year career for the Cincinnati Bengals.
So you see the field covered with snow, and more is forecast. The original projection was for an afternoon of rain. But now with the temperatures dropping, it's snow it has been since early this morning. Seahawks coming in, 1 game behind Denver in that tough AFC West. There's Sam White, coach of the Bengals. In his first year, team got off to a tough start, but they've been playing some real good football, winning 3 of their last 4, coming off an upset win over the Pittsburgh Steelers. The only loss in that 4-game stretch was when the 49ers came from behind in the 4th quarter at San Francisco to just get by Cincinnati. Bengals are confident. Chuck Knox says they're loaded with good people. They might have a losing record, but they're as good as anybody you'll face.
Don, coming into this ball game, too, I think Chuck Knox's worst fear was bad weather. And if Sam White could have hoped for a break in favor of his team, he would have hoped for bad weather.
The Bengals will be receiving to start the game. There's Norm Johnson, who's having a big year kicking the ball for Seattle. Free agent out of UCLA. He is a high kickoff man, not particularly deep, but he affords the very aggressive special forces, they call them, of Seattle, the special teamers, to get down under it. And there are the deep men for the Cincinnati Bengals. Rookie Stanford Jennings is back, number 36. That's the man they hope the ball goes to. Mike Martin is back with him. The lights are on in Cincinnati as Johnson hits the ball. Stanford Jennings from the 6. He's out close to the 20. And the Cincinnati offense comes out, and there is Turk Schonert from Stanford University. Originally drafted by the Chicago Bears, came to Cincinnati as a free agent. His greatest moment in pro football came against Seattle. They yanked Kenny Anderson in '81 when Bengals were down 21-0. Schonert rallied them to victory. His offensive line is huge. Munoz is as good as there is at left tackle. Latos, a rookie, at 300 pounds as we go 1st and 10. Right to the big back, Kinnebrew. That's the Brew call as he hits straight ahead.
Don, they start with 2 tight ends. I tend to think that Cincinnati's going to run the ball an awful lot today with this weather.
Kinnebrew's the man from Tennessee State. Seahawk defense has been tremendous. Jacob Green, Joe Nash, and Jeff Bryant. All 3 Pro Bowl quality this year. Nash, the free agent at nose tackle, is as good as there is in the league. Playing between 2 number 1s. James he's ahead for a Cincinnati first down, and can't get the little guy down.
Don, you can see the defensive backs of the Seattle Seahawks grabbing at that football. Brooks historically has coughed the ball up. This week, the Cincinnati Bengals had an awful lot of practice hanging on to that football. Just a decent sweep to the outside. Cincinnati feels they can run the ball against the Seattle Seahawks. The Seahawks are best when they have that nickel package in, when they got 6, 7, 5 defensive backs.
James Brooks got 20 on that one, Trump, so the Bengals moving well in the cold and the snow here in Cincinnati. First and 10. Heading straight ahead. He comes in at 260 pounds, this big back. And he's fast. Kennebrew beat Herschel Walker in a sprint in high school, Georgia.
Brew was a senior. Herschel Walker was a sophomore. He also won the state shot put in the same meet. So Kennebrew, who earlier this season in training camp came in at about 280 pounds, last year broke his leg, was actually put on the physically unable to perform list, got himself in shape, and it's taken him about 10 weeks to really be a big part of the offense.
So now the Bengals go second down and 6 coming up. Schonert, missed call, and he puts his head down and takes it back to the line of scrimmage. Maybe got a yard. Linebackers for Seattle all closing in. Bruce Schultz, Shelton Robinson, Keith Butler, and Greg Gaines. The cornerbacks are Keith Simpson and Dave Brown. Kenny Easley and John Harris, the safeties, although Seattle, as you see now, bringing more people in. They like to go with 6 defensive backs if they can get them in.
This is their defense. Throughout this football game, if they're able to get that 5th and 6th defensive back into the ball game, that's the best defense, and that's the alignment that they really want to see. They got 4-man front with Fanning up on the line of scrimmage and 5, 6 defensive backs now.
Third down coming up for Cincinnati. No score first quarter, and Kennebrew knocking Seahawks over like 10 pins, takes it ahead for a first down. Easily the strong safety finally got him down.
Don, footing today is going to be the biggest factor in this football game. And at the line of scrimmage, watch number 79, Jacob Green, their most active defensive lineman. You can see that he slips down, and Brew has already got up ahead of steam. Jacob Green would generally be right there to make the tackle.
So Cincinnati going with the power game, and it's working now. James Brooks gets ahead on a first down carry. Brings the ball down close to the 35-yard line.
You see the way when they tackle these running backs, they don't tackle them to get them to the ground. They hold them up so that the second guy in there can try to get the ball away. Schultz made the tackle, or excuse me, the defensive back makes the tackle easily. Now look at him standing up there, scratching for that football. And Brooks has coughed it up in his career.
Cincinnati, he has had a problem. Seattle knows him well from Brooks' days with San Diego. Kennebrew runs, breaks a linebacker tackle on second down and 7. And look at this big guy get ahead for a first down. This is the old-time football of Paul Brown, the big back powering at the defense.
That's now the 7th run in a row for the Cincinnati Bengals. And Duck mentioned that one of the things he did not want to happen is that the huge offensive line of the Cincinnati Bengals just stand at the line of scrimmage and push the Seattle Seahawks around.
So Cincinnati impressive on this opening drive. There is no score, but the Bengals are moving toward the Seattle goal line. Snow falling, and it's expected to throughout the game. Kennebrew again. And again, good yardage for Cincinnati. On the ball, these Bengals coach to hold on to that ball because they know Seattle's hunting for it.
Well, this is the spot when Seattle generally seems to come up with that big turnover. They've had 50 total throughout the season, and they don't mind being in this spot because they're still playing their same defense. They'll still strip away the football.
And with this weather, we can expect loose footballs on the field before long. It is a tough day. Kennebrew now with 36 yards and 5 carries. Second and 4. James Brooks weaves ahead. He's close to a Cincinnati first down as he comes inside the 20. The Seattle defense with 29 interceptions this year and 36 fumble recoveries.
We We got another formation coming in here. Buffalo on top of Dallas, 7-0.
Probably not a great day in Western New York, and the Bills know how to play in that.
Yeah, Chuck Knox is used to games like this, having coached a few up there in Rich Stadium with all the snow and the wind blowing.
Now the Bengals on 3rd and about a yard. Might have gotten that yard. He didn't get any more, as the linebackers for Seattle jump the gaps and make the knockdown.
Very close. First choice for Sam White. If they don't make it, do you go for it on 4th down and a couple of inches?
I think you do. You're playing this big a game. Cincinnati's still in the hunt in the AFC Central. They're 2 games behind the Steelers with 5 to play, even though the Bengals are 4-7.
Yeah, they've won 4 of their last 6 football games. And the Bengals tell us that basically it's because they're finally catching on to the offense that Sam White has instituted here in Cincinnati.
Trump, has the game changed much in Cincinnati with the new coach, Sam White? I know the attitude he's a little easier on the players.
Yes, the game has changed quite a bit. They employ a great many more formations and motion. They're a lot more difficult to just look at on film and try to figure out what they do best and what they're going to do in a certain instance. So you've got to prepare for an awful lot of offense defensively.
Those big offensive linemen firing off the ball. As big an offensive line as there is in football. Munoz and Wilson, Blados and Montoya, and Dave Remington at 300 pounds down of the ball at center. As Kennebrew, with both arms on the ball, hits ahead again on a 1st down play and takes it down inside the 15-yard line.
Don, one of the factors in this football game is the line play. Seattle known for the movement at the line of scrimmage. Watch 52 Remington on Joe Nash. Now the nose tackle will stunt one side or the other. Remington just shoves him out of there. Brew right up behind for about a 3-yard pickup. This is a fine defensive line that Seattle has. I would think pretty quickly they'll go to the 4-man front.
Got the ground coup coming in between plays. As the snow continues to fall, it's actually probably heavier now than it's been. Collinsworth goes wide to the right. They've not looked at a wide receiver so far. This has been a power drive all the way. 2nd down and 7. James Brooks, big play. Coming up to make the stop was Bruce Schultz, number 58, a Texas linebacker for Seattle. Loss on the play.
Very characteristic of the Seattle defense. Allow a team to drive down the field and then stop them at the line of scrimmage. Now we've got 4-man front. I see 2 extra defensive backs coming in. Seattle figuring that the Cincinnati Bengals now must throw the ball for the first time.
Philadelphia on a field goal, leading the Redskins in the 1st quarter at Veterans Stadium. 3rd down now, and just over 10 for Cincinnati. Scoreless 1st quarter. Bengals moving on the opening drive. Here's Kennebrew. Fumble. 3 ball. And Seattle looks like they have it. The Seahawks do it again. Ending but not breaking, and then when the opposition gets down close, bang. Another turnover, and the Seattle defense delivers again. So the Cincinnati drive, long as it was, is stopped and is fruitless. And Seattle takes over the ball.
51st turnover of the year for the Seattle Seahawks. 45, Ken Easley. Plays strong safety, but is as big as a linebacker. Watch 45, hit his helmet right on the football. Boom, right there. It's loose. And Jeff Bryant eventually recovers it. And that's exactly in character for the Seattle Seahawks.
Kenny Easley, the Seahawks coaches say he's the best defensive player in the NFL.
This year he seems to be.
Linebacker size, 6'3", 210. And he runs as fast as anybody out there. Now the Seahawks go on offense, 1st and 10 with Craig at quarterback. With a run. They got some, not a whole lot. Cullen Bryant, a big back from Colorado. He played for Chuck Knox with the Rams. He's been hurt for a while. Is back now. Craig at quarterback. Lane and Hughes are the runners for the most part. Largent, a great pass catcher, and the deep threat, of course, in Darrell Turner. Offensive line particularly strong on the right side. They like to run right. They got 5 on the first carry, and so it's 2nd down and 5 for Seattle. Ryan gets the ball again, but this time the Bengals are awaiting. Coming in to make the hit was Tim Crumry, the middle guard. Jeff Shue also on the stop. There's the front 3. Good group. Edwards and Browner, former number 1s. Linebackers, for the most part, are young. Experience on the right side, and Reggie Williams, a quick sacker, a blitzer, and Cameron. Bobby Kemp, very good, strong safety, a hitter who frees the ball.
Don, a comment. I think Cullen Bryant is starting for the Seattle Seahawks because he's a great sure-handed ball carrier. Historically, very seldom gives up the football.
3rd down and 4 for Seattle. Dave Craig goes to the run. Bryant working hard, doing well to keep his footing, but he didn't get there. And so the Seahawks don't get the 10 yards on 3 rushes. They'll punt the ball, and Cincinnati could have very good field position. You got to be tough to be a fan today.
Well, these fans sat through a game in 1981 where it was minus 60 degrees when we were also in this booth. NBC was also in this booth, so they're used to this bad weather.
Actually, isn't that cold today?
No, it's not. But the problem with the field is this kind of snow, this is a very wet snow, Don, and as this game goes on, it's going to get, these players are going to get wetter and wetter and wetter, which may constitute some pulled muscles, things of that nature.
Jeff West, who played at the University of Cincinnati, ready to punt for Seattle. Simmons and Martin are back for the Bengals. Not a good kick. John Simmons will run it back. No, he won't. He tried to. But the excellent special team play of Seattle, which has distinguished this football club all season long. Merriman, a linebacker, Sam Merriman, makes the knockdown with no return. 31-yard punt. So the Bengals, who drove all the way down the field and then lost it on a fumble, take over again. Penalty marker is down.
It's going to be against Seattle.
Ineligible line downfield, number 51 on the kicking team.
He's the guy that made the tackle.
1st and 10.
Now we know why he was there so quickly.
Got there early because he left early. So there's a break in the action as we watch John Simmons field the punt and then get drilled. With Bob Trumpy, this is Don Crickey back at Riverfront Stadium in Cincinnati on a cold, snowy November day. A full-blown snowstorm has hit southern Ohio as the Bengals get their 2nd possession of the ball game. There's no score with 5:13 to play in the 1st quarter. Atlanta leading the Cleveland Browns down in Georgia 7-0 1st quarter. Kirk Schoner to quarterback. James Brooks fumbles, and the Bengals lose the ball again. We better wait and see what Gordon McCarter says, but it looks like Easley was on it.
We got a flag on the field too, Don. That first opportunity for Cincinnati, 63 yards.
Holding, number 52 offense, decline, 1st down the other way.
The Seahawks do it again. 2 possessions for the Bengals. The first time they ran 63 yards and then fumbled. Now they get nailed right away.
You see 53 in there quickly to make the tackle and pop the ball loose. Keith Butler was there just as James Brooks got the ball. 2nd turnover for Seattle. Game in character.
We'll be back right after this. Back at Cincinnati, it's still snowing and it's getting colder. So far, we've not had a pass trump. We might not see many.
You're right, and Seattle playing in character, allowing those linebackers, defensive backs to get up there and pop the ball. Cincinnati's worst fear has already happened. They turned the ball over twice. I was rather surprised at that last call. It was an inside handoff, underneath handoff trap. That's pretty dangerous in weather like this.
Now Dave Craig and the Seahawks go 1st and 10. Midfield, and they rocket the ball up the middle with the running play. Taking the ball straight ahead and getting it inside the 45-yard line is Randall Moore. That's Dan Dorning, the doctor, University of Washington Medical School student.
They're going to need him today. Good, tough runner inside. In a game like this, you want to be very conservative, very protective of that football. Let's throw it up.
Gain of almost 7 on that run. Second down, a long 3. Right back to the run, and Cullen Bryant takes it down to the 40-yard line of Cincinnati. And while we have a moment, let's go to NFL 84 in New York.
Don, you mentioned the score in Atlanta as the Falcons have gone out in front of the Browns after Cleveland fumbles Steve Bartkowski to Stacey Bailey. The touchdown covers 20 yards. Surprisingly, only the second touchdown pass in the last 7 starts for Bartkowski. Try to stay warm, guys.
We're working on it. Bill, it's not easy, but it's a good day for a football game. You see a lot of amazing things happen. Seattle's game plan under Chuck Knox has certainly held up so far. Tackle the football, they've done that twice. Forcing 2 Cincinnati turnovers on the first 2 Bengal possessions. No score with 4 minutes left to play in the first quarter. First and 10, Seattle. Got him down as Dan Durning running well on an off track.
First drive for the Cincinnati Bengals. We noticed Jacob Green slipping. Here's 57. Reggie Williams, a linebacker. Charlie Young doing a good job blocking on him. And you see Williams gets nowhere, and Dornick wants up through there. Look at the missed tackle there. Tough running back. Very good running back. And you see Ray Horton trying to strip the ball away. Big first down. Big run for the Seattle Seahawks.
Seahawks mounting their first challenge of this game. First down at the 14. Dorning again, and once again he delivers, going on a quick slant down close to the 5-yard line.
Basically, the Seattle Seahawk line is purely man-on-man. All those guys up front will take the man lined up in front of them and just block them the way the defensive man wants to go. It's up to Dornick. It used to be up to Kurt Warner. It's up to Cullen Bryant to find the little seam in the defense and run the ball up through there.
So you have to watch Largent, number 80, to the right of your screen, lower right. He catches it in any kind of weather. Craig's thrown for 20 touchdowns, but they're going to keep it down low and down to the 2-yard line. Maybe the 1 goes Dornick.
I think it's loose. I think it's loose.
Simpkins says it's his ball. Sam White's waiting like the rest of us. Boom. Seattle keeps it.
Sam White is overruled. It's tough to hang on the ball in situations like this, Don, because you're thinking about it so much, and you're not paying attention to where you're running. Then you blindly run into someone, and the helmet pops the ball loose. They don't grab it away. It's just that collision helmet right on the football. And I'll tell you another thing. On a day like this ball is like a piece of concrete. It is so hard that it's so very, very difficult to hang on. It's slick. You can't hold on to it well at all.
4 new downs now for Seattle. First and goal. Point-blank range. Over the top, and did he get in? He did. Looked like Zach Dixon, number 31, was on the payoff end with the first score of the football game. And so Seattle, capitalizing on a turnover, again turns one into points.
Now, Don, interestingly, that was the 22nd turnover that the Seattle Seahawks have gotten inside their opponent's 50-yard line. And this offense is rated very, very low number-wise. But generally throughout this season, to get all their points, they've only had to drive 30, 40 yards. Or, in some instances, the turnover is a touchdown itself.
Well, Seattle's only 22nd in the NFL in offense, but they get such good field position, they don't have to go that far. They've got a good offense. Extra point is up and good, and with 1:38 to play in the first quarter, Seattle takes a 7-0 lead. Let's watch Zach Dixon take it in again.
Now, this is the 9th rushing touchdown that the Seattle Seahawks have scored in 1984. Their defense has scored 8 touchdowns.
Next weekend, tee off with golf's greatest foursome in the Skins game. 6 plays, 49 yards, 31. Zach Dixon on the payoff end for Seattle as the Seahawks have taken a 7-0 lead. 1:38 to play in the first quarter. Norm Johnson kicks off now. High spinner downfield, won't carry too deep, and here's the rookie Stanford Jennings running the ball.
Whoa, fumble!
3 football again. What a hit.
Bengals keep it, though. Off of that performance last Monday night, Cincinnati Bengals were going to double team number 50, Mr. Young. I mean, he can put you in the hospital permanently. And in so doing, of course, you leave someone else free. There's M.L. Harris on a little shove. Well, watch this ball. When it becomes dislodged, it really becomes dislodged. Goes out of bounds. Bengals lose about 5 yards, but they maintain possession. Say good.
The Bengals have the ball. Late in the first quarter, they trail in the game 7-0. First down, Cincinnati. From their 12. Kennebrew runs in well, gets about 9, and now let's go to NFL 84 in New York.
All right, Don, at the Hoosier Dome, New England now leads the Colts as Tony Eason has thrown his 16th touchdown pass of the year. This one of 4 yards to Derek Ramsey. 7-0 Patriots midway through the first quarter.
Patriots very much in the wild card chase in the American Conference under their new coach Raymond Berry. Cincinnati hoping to get to the playoffs by catching the Steelers in the AFC Central. It can be done. They're down by 2 games with 5 to play. On second and short yardage, a penalty marker comes in as the Bengals go to the run, and that's all we've had in this football game.
Holding Cincinnati. That's the 25th run now of the ball game. Neither team has thrown a pass. That's a holding penalty, so now the Bengals are going to have a second down and long yardage. You may see the first pass of the day.
How tough is that cold ball to catch in a day like this, Trump?
Very, very difficult. You got to try to catch it with your hands whenever you possibly can, and then cradle it to your body as quickly as possible. These Seattle Seahawks defensive backs, they'll be waiting there, standing there, hold you up, and try to jar the ball loose from you. Let's see who it's holding on.
Holding, number 78 on the offense. Repeat, second down.
Munoz, the All-Pro left tackle. He's been a consensus All-Pro 3 straight years. He's got a load against him today, Jeff Bryant. So the Bengals are now set back. All about their 10-yard line, second down and 11.
Seahawks have 2. Well, they come in with a normal set here. They don't have the nickel package in. Easily on a blitz.
Alexander doesn't get a thing. Charles Alexander looking for room to run, but all he found was Seahawk linebackers and big Jeff Bryant. Sheldon Robinson, 57. The Seahawks leading tackler was up to make the first hit.
It's going to be a big factor in this football game when you have a second down and long yardage situation. Until you throw that first one, it's going to take you a while to get up the nerve to throw the first one, Don. Now Seattle comes in with their nickel package, and this is when this defense is absolutely outstanding. They got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 defensive backs, a 4-man front, and Greg Gaines, 56 at linebacker.
That'll do it for the first quarter as the clock winds out. After the first 15 minutes of play, the Seattle Seahawks, with their 9-2 record, take a 7-0 lead. No yards passing in the first quarter because they never threw a ball.
What's not shown there are the 2 fumble recoveries by Seattle and the 1 fumble that Cincinnati did get back because it bounced out of bounds. This has got to be the Bengals' first real need to throw the football right here, Don.
Let's see if they do. Third down and about 14. As we start the second quarter with Seattle in the lead 7-0. Free ball. Woo. A lot of Seahawks looking at that ball coming down as M.L. Harris, the tight end, was going for it. He's had a good season. He catches for good distances. Caught 30 balls coming in for almost 18 yards a catch.
When Seattle plays that defense, they play easy like a middle linebacker. And when the quarterback shows drop, like he's going to pass, and he goes back and covers the tight end. He usually has that athletic ability. Big enough to be a linebacker, as you stated earlier, Don. Also quick enough to be in coverage.
Had McAnally now in to punt the ball for Cincinnati. His first punt of the game. Cincinnati lost it on its first 2 possessions with fumbles. Really seemed to take some of the spunk out of the Bengals, too, didn't it, Trump, after that long drive, losing the fumble?
No doubt about it. That was a 63-yard drive, consumed 7 minutes, and they turned it over inside the 5-yard line.
McAnally hits a line drive downfield. With some room to run, and coming down with it is Paul Scanzi. And he is going to give the Seahawks good field position. 40-yard punt by McAnally. So with a break in the action, we pause for this word.
Today's game is brought to you by Today Chevrolet. See Today Chevy, drive Today Chevy, live Today Chevy. By Federal Express Sat Mail, when overnight is just not fast enough. And by Prudential Bates Securities, where account executives provide total financial planning.
Snow you're looking at, sports fans. It's the real thing here in Cincinnati. As Seattle has a 7-0 lead early in the second quarter, and the Seahawks go to the run. Dorning, who ran so well on that touchdown drive, gets a couple of yards, and that's all.
One of the interesting matchups today is former center of the Bengals, Blair Bush, against the nose tackle of the Cincinnati Bengals, Tim Crumry. 69 versus 59. Crumry, out of Wisconsin, is one of those bulldogs that you find in there in the middle. Built like a sumo wrestler, about 2/3 of his weight below his waist. And he's done his job there with Blair Bush, just stand him up. And interestingly, Seattle has averaged, before that play, 9 yards on first down.
About 3 on that one, so it's 2nd and 7. Excellent play by Crumry, the middle guard, as he hits Dorning behind the line of scrimmage. Crumry shedding the block of the center, Blair Bush, the former Bengal.
The Bengals play their nose tackle very similar to the way the Seahawks do. Sometimes the nose tackle will jump behind the block. They have a predestined move. That time Crumry behind the block, there to make the tackle in the backfield field position. Right now for the Seahawks, outstanding. This is exactly what they wanted. They can keep the Bengals pinned back in the shadow of their own goalpost. That's what Chuck Knox likes.
Go to the trip set, open formation, 4 wide receivers. Byron Walker goes in motion. From the shotgun on 3rd and a long 8. Over the middle, Largent gets it. He has a first down. Almost ran him out of the ball yard. Now let's go to NFL 84 in New York.
All right, Don and Bob, the Browns have taken the lead now down in Atlanta, trailing 7-0. Paul McDonald hooks up with Bruce Davis. Davis, the rookie out of Baylor, goes most of the 43 yards himself with a touchdown. Matt Barr added a field goal, so it's 10-7 Cleveland.
Cleveland needs all they can get.
You're right. 12 yards on that reception. You can see how the defensive backs were laying off of Largent. All Largent did was go down, nothing fancy, turn around. Craig hit him on the timing pass, first down Seattle.
So the Seahawks with a 7-0 lead, starting to challenge again down to the 31. Dave Craig takes a look, gets a man, it's Largent. Largent's down to the 20. Looks like another first down for Seattle. Ray Horton, the right corner, finally got him down.
Interesting call. Largent came back in motion like he was going to be a pass protector, and then basically was out there, catch the ball on a screen. Now you'll see on the right-hand side of the picture, I believe, Largent, he's just on the other side of Cullen Bryant. After Craig looks downfield, look, there's no one around Largent as he sneaks out into the flat. And his consecutive game reception string is alive at what, 106 now, I believe? 103.
Not bad. He's about 2 full seasons away from the all-time record held by Carmichael. Running hard on a slant is Cullen Bryant. On a first down carry, he powers the ball down close to the 14-yard line of Cincinnati. Ron Simpkins, one of the inside linebackers, was on the stop as Dorning likes the snow.
I'll tell you what, this Seattle Seahawks team has overcome adversity after adversity after adversity. And today, traveling to Cincinnati, playing in the snow, now leading 7-0 and driving. You just can't compliment the Seattle coaching staff and their players enough to this point in this season.
Losing a player of the caliber of Kurt Warner and then coming back, and Seahawks are going to probably have the greatest season in their history. They've already tied the record number of victories for the season. Second down and 3, and again, it's Dorning very quickly out of the three-point, just rocketing straight ahead and getting down close to the 10-yard line and very close to yet another Seattle Seahawk first down. Seahawks are only in their 9th year in the National Football League. They've had a lot of winning years. They've never gone over 9 wins in a regular season, and they have that this season with just 11 games played.
Chuck Knox, wherever he goes, he produces a winner.
First thing he does is toughen up the defense. Preaches the turnover. Knows that the ball is there, and so it's another Seahawk first down.
They call this offense ground chuck. And with a running back like Kurt Warner, it is an outstanding offense. This year, it's been, let's say, efficient, because the defense has given them such great field position, and they're tough characters out there on that offense. Very tough characters.
I think, Trump, we're going to see a lot of Dorning. He really looks sharp on this bad field.
Doesn't seem to bother him, does it?
No, he's quick.
Whoa.
Free ball. Looks like Cullen Bryant got it back barely as Reggie Williams moved in on it. A misconnection on the handoff and very nearly a turnover for Seattle.
Bryant slipped right out of his stance. Craig gets the ball out of there, and you can see that Bryant's already almost down when Craig puts it in. You see there going down, hits him right up on the shoulder pads. But look, when you're 9-2, the ball bounces your way, and Cullen Bryant recovers it.
Trump, you played a lot of games for Cincinnati on this field. You were saying before the game it tends to be very slippery field when it gets wet.
Even when it's just damp, it is a very tough field to keep your feet on.
Second down and 12. Craig looks, there's Largent, touchdown Seattle. You can't contain the man, and Largent beats the coverage, catches the touchdown ball, and there's also a personal foul call going to be signaled against Cincinnati.
Simple slant pattern by Largent. Cornerback Ray Horton way off in coverage. Very, very soft, and allowed Largent to break. And all Craig needs is a little bit.
Personal foul, unnecessary roughness, number 20 on the defense after the score. Touchdown good, 15 yards on the kickoff.
A frustrated Ray Horton took a swipe at Largent after he caught the ball for the score.
Now watch the cushion. Look at the difference between where the defensive back is and the receiver. Not even close. You see it coming right at you. It looks like Ray Horton was expecting some underneath help, some inside help, and he didn't get it.
Norm Johnson, the American Conference leading scorer, hits the extra point, and Seattle, apprehensive about the bad weather, playing some outstanding football again in it as the Seahawks have taken a 14-0 lead. We'll be back with the Seahawk kickoff. Be a big Thanksgiving game. The Patriots and the Cowboys as we watch again. Craig DeLargent. Touchdown, Seattle.
Craig today 3 for 3, a touchdown. That's his 21st touchdown thrown today. That drive, 8 plays, 45 yards. Once again, the short field, and the pass to Largent.
Scribber downfield, and the Bengals will go from their 20-yard line as Kennebrew, the big fullback, as an up back to block, picked up the ball. Thanksgiving Day. A big, big football day. The Patriots very much in the wild card hunt in the AFC. The Cowboys, a great team any day. It'll be the Patriots and the Cowboys from Irving, Texas, Thanksgiving Day here on NBC Sports.
Well, now the offense of the Cincinnati Bengals in a real bind. They have not thrown the ball yet, down 14 points. They can't stand back there and just run it. Here they go throwing.
Looks like was hit. Ike Curtis was hit before the ball came in. So it'll be a gain on the penalty of about 15 yards and a first down. Isaac Curtis has been doing it for a long time.
Number 32 on the defense. First down.
Keith Simpson called for the foul. Penalty yardage assessed.
Now, I'll tell you, offensively, one of the problems the Bengals have suffered with is a real imbalance in where they throw the football. Almost 8 out of 10 times they throw it to the weak side of the formation. That is away from the flanker and to Chris Collinsworth. And defenses have noticed that. And they put a lot more pressure on Collinsworth.
Killebrew looks for a place to run. Dave Brown, the cornerback, comes up and forces it. Now let's go back to New York.
Don, it's a little warmer in the Hoosier Dome, and there for the second time today, Tony Eason is hooked up with Derek Ramsey for a touchdown off the play action. The play covers 25 yards. The Patriots also have a safety, and New England leads it comfortably 16-0 just into the second quarter.
Tony Eason, another celebrated member of that class of '83. All those good quarterbacks who came out. He's having a tremendous year.
Number 77 offense. Repeat, first down.
We got Mike Wilson. And the ball is now moved back 10 yards. So the Bengals have a continuing problem.
Don, that's the third holding call against the Bengals offense, and now it allows the Seahawks to play their #1 defense. They come in with that 4th defensive lineman and anywhere from 5 to 7 defensive backs. Let's count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 defensive backs, a 4-man front, and 1 linebacker. This is where they are very tough.
Show blitz, then back off it. Here's a throw and a connection to Collinsworth, and he is quickly leveled by the all-pro strong safety Ken Easley. Number 45 comes in with 7 interceptions. Calls him a home run hitter.
Comes in with a lot of respect too. You see the 2 safeties, Harris and Easley, faking the blitz and then drop back in coverage. Confusion at the line of scrimmage. That's that Tom Catlin defense. And when he hits you, you go down.
He's a leveler, Ken Easley. Loss of play of about 4 yards. It'll be second down and 14. Jonas gets time. He's got a man, and the ball is lost. Taken at the 50 and lost by Isaac Curtis.
I'll tell you one thing, on a day like this, if you put your hand out on the ground wearing those gloves, they are basically worthless. The gloves that Isaac Curtis has are made out of leather, and they get slick. And it's very, very difficult to hang onto the football. Watch here. This ball should have been caught. Easley doesn't have gloves on. Those things don't help. There's Tom Catlin on the sideline. Looks from the back like Darth Vader. A lot of offensive coordinators figure his defense is coached by Darth Vader.
His full title is assistant head coach of the Seahawks. He and Chuck Knox have been together a long time since the LA Ram days. The designer of maybe the best defense in the NFL. Down the field, M.L. Harris comes down with the ball, and it looks like a first down on 3rd and 14. So the Bengals get their first big play since that opening drive.
Interesting pattern run by M.L. Harris, too. You'll see him at the bottom of the screen. He's right in front of the official. Now watch what he does. John Harris, 44, ends up in coverage. He stops and comes back. And Turk Schonert, good knowledge of what M.L. Harris is going to do, throws it. That's a fine catch. He gets it in his hands and cradles it to the body. Big first down, Cincinnati.
7:44 to play. Clock running, second quarter. Don Criqui with Bob Crumpy, Cincinnati, Ohio. The Seahawks in white lead 14-0. Throws it, and rule that Dave Brown was there right on time. A clean breakup.
Whoa. That looked like there was contact before the ball got to Chris Collinsworth's hands. He's complaining. Dave Brown in coverage. That's a tough pass to throw on a day like today, Don. Just a simple out timing pass. The receiver's going to be slow off the ball. The quarterback's got to get his hand around that football, make sure he's got a good grip on it.
Brings up second down and 10. Bengals on their first possession ran the ball right down the field, but lost it down close to the Seattle goal line on a fumble. Not been close since. goes to Kennebrew. This is a load, and Kennebrew crashes ahead down to the 41-yard line. 14-yard gain and another Cincinnati first down.
Great block by James Brooks. We got a flag down on the field. Kennebrew caught the ball out in the flat. James Brooks was out there too. And he blocked Dave Brown and allowed Kennebrew to pick up that first down. A little conference among the officials.
Gordon McCarter, the referee. Clock stop with 7:15 to play in the first half. 14-0 Seattle. Seahawks with their fourth game in the career in the history of the franchise here at Cincinnati. They've never played in Seattle.
Personal foul, unnecessary roughness. Continuing action foul, number 20 on the offense. Penalty will be assessed from the dead ball spot. Repeat, second down.
There's no 20 on the Cincinnati Bengals offense. That's Ray Horton. He's a cornerback.
Wants to know.
Yeah.
Number 20's over here with me.
20's, that's right. 20 standing on the sideline. They're saying it happened while Kennebrew was still carrying the ball, and therefore, as opposed to it being a first down, they take it away from him, and they got to repeat the play. If that's the penalty, that's a dead ball foul. It should be a first down.
James Brooks gets the ball. Still on his feet. He gets to midfield.
Fumble.
It's be a big game for Cincinnati, it looks like. It is. Sure-handed Chris Collinsworth catches it 20 yards downfield after the roll. Whatever it takes, Crumpler.
You're right. In a day like this, you got to be alert for that football. Brooks on the catch. Collinsworth, actually, when he started to catch the ball, I thought the smartest thing would be to do just scoop it out of bounds. Then it's the Cincinnati Bengals ball wherever it goes out. Watch this. He does dive on it. It gives him a nice little home court bounce. Taylor right there, almost to get in on the fumble recovery.
Straight up the gut.
Don, it's now up to this Seattle defense to take the steam out of the Cincinnati offense. There you see the signals in from the sideline. Now we're going to show the. Now watch the end of this play. The ball is down. It's dead. If they call this a penalty, the officials are mistaken. It's supposed to be a first down. It should be 1st and 20.
Out of live action to Kennebrew, and he gets it on his own. He took on the defense and drove him 5 yards ahead. It's a first down for the Bengals. This could be, Trump, the most critical drive of the game for Cincinnati. If they don't get it in here, if they come up short or fumble the ball, they might have a tough time coming back at all. If they go in, though, it's a new game.
You're right. 5:26 left. 5:15 and counting left in the first half. This is the second time now the Bengals have had the ball down in Seattle territory. First time they coughed it up. You're right, Don. This could really go a long way towards settling this football game if Seattle can get another turnover.
That's what they're facing. Snow falling hard. First down 10, Cincinnati. Kennebrew. Those Seahawks, they are hunting footballs all game long.
And you see what it does to Kennebrew? He's worried more about hanging on to the football than he is running recklessly. And what you do is you basically slow down a running back. He's got to be very, very cautious with that football. He doesn't want to fall, get it hit by someone. It really changes the mind of a lot of offenses the way Seattle strips that football away.
The Cardinals with the #1 offense in the National Conference leading the Giants. New England in command over the Colts. Eagles still holding to that 3-point lead. And the Bears leading the Lions.
Bengals should throw it on this down.
They heard you. Out of bounds at the is in the Canadian Football League, and we pause briefly for station identification. This is the NBC television network.
This is KING-TV, Channel 5, Seattle.
We're at Cincinnati, Ohio. Don Criqui with Bob Crumpy on a cold, snowy day. Snow forecast all day long. It's been falling since early this morning. You see the Seahawks lead the Bengals 14-0, but Cincinnati challenging right now. Third down, a long two. Swing pass. Good defensive play. Keith Butler had a hand on the ball, tipped it away from Kennebrew, and the field goal unit comes out.
The reason I said that Cincinnati should throw on that previous down is that that's when they don't play the nickel. And this down, they get the nickel in. Watch Butler. He's almost there to pick it off. You can see it looks at times when you look at that defense, they got 12 guys over there just in coverage, not counting the line of scrimmage.
The Seahawks have already stopped 2 Cincinnati drives with fumble recoveries. Now the Bengals looking for their first points of the game, trailing 14-0. Jim Breach, a straightaway hit from 30 yards out. He's there. So the Bengals put their first number up. It's a 14-3 game. The Bengal growls, and Cincinnati's on the board. Not an easy day to watch a football game in Cincinnati.
Looks to me like you didn't get the weather report either, son. You came a little sparsely dressed.
Look at that. That thing's been in use all game long, and even before the game. As now, after the field goal, Jim Breach kicks it off. A line drive downfield. That's 15 coming ahead, and he's across the 25 and out to close to the 30-yard line. Now the Bengal defense will be going hard for the ball with 3:44 to play in the first half.
Bengals down to this point, first half, 2 missed opportunities. To only have 3 points after getting the ball twice inside the 10-yard line is discouraging.
We'll be back to Riverfront Stadium right after this. The Seahawks, after stopping 2 Cincinnati drives with fumble recoveries, took a 14-0 lead. Now the Bengals are up with a 30-yard field goal by Jim Breach for their first points. It's a 14-3 game as Seattle goes 1st and 10.
Don, they should stop the clock right here. They got one of those sweepers down on the goal line. That could be dangerous. He's walking right in the middle of the field now.
Dan Dornick runs. Eddie Edwards gets him, 73. Good play by the left end for the Bengals, Eddie Edwards. Brings up 2nd down for Seattle. There's our man working the snowblower. Buffalo 0-11, looking to get off the schneid against a tough Cowboy team. The weather's like they like it in Buffalo, though. I'm sure it's cold and snowy there. Cleveland leading Atlanta 13-7. Green Bay has just scored to come from behind, leading 7-3. Seattle. Owen Bryant stutter step. He accelerates, and the Bengals swarm him under. And a penalty marker comes in after the play.
They're grabbing for that football too, Don. The Bengals are. Face mask to Cincinnati. Well, Seattle comes into this ball game being one of the most penalized teams in the NFL.
Well, they're looking to have
gone.
Cincinnati catch up today.
You're right. It has gone against Cincinnati this entire first half.
Face mask, 5-yard penalty, number 26 on the defense. It is still 2nd down.
Bobby Kemp, strong safety called.
You can see his hand over the face mask. They got him. He lets go, and that's why it's the inadvertent face mask.
It's a penalty that can be 5, 10, or 15 yards. Bob Costas and the boys are waiting back in New York. Axt had his pick today, Cincinnati +4.
That ain't looking too good now.
Long way to go, though. It's 2nd down and 1. Seattle with the ball on a 14-3 lead. Cullen Bryant hitting into the left side of the Cincinnati defense gets ahead for a Seattle 1st down. Seahawks' only 2 losses this year were to New England, and they were also beaten by the Raiders.
This is a team that throughout this season has only had 2 drives that have resulted in touchdowns of 5 minutes or more. They get the ball generally about around midfield from their defense, and that's when they're really tough.
Seattle does it when it counts. 22nd in offense in the NFL, but 3rd in scoring. They put it in the end zone. Have done that twice today. Here is a throw and a completion. Charlie Young, the tight end, coming across. He's knocked down by outside linebacker Reggie Williams, but it's a good gainer for the Seahawks across midfield.
Charlie Young is about the age of a couple of officials out here, but he can still play the game. He has a young body, and he also has a young mind. Been playing for years for Chuck Knox, hasn't he? Nice catch. Well done. Tackled by Reggie Williams, but it's enough for a 1st down.
Charlie Young looking to go to the Super Bowl for a 3rd time with a 3rd different team. He's been there with the Rams and the 49ers. We'll be back right after this. A correction on that score. The Skins lead the Eagles 7-3 now in the 2nd quarter at Veterans Stadium in Philadelphia. Here in Cincinnati, you see the Seahawks up on Cincinnati 14-3. 2nd down and less than a yard for the Seahawks. Cullen Bryant gets the 1st down and some more. 4 new downs now for Seattle with 1:50 to play in the 1st half and the clock running.
And I think they'd be very happy to go in at halftime 14-3. They get the ball back to start the 2nd half. And under these conditions and these adverse conditions and traveling, you got to be very conservative here. You don't want to cough it up. Give any spark to the Cincinnati Bengals before halftime.
1st down and 10 for Dave Craig as he goes with a 4 wide receiver formation.
Look at this.
Going long, Darrell beat Pete Turner, and it's intercepted by Ray Horton, who goes right out the exit, and we'll be back sometime later this afternoon.
Dave Craig is chasing him right down to the end of the field. Talking to Turner, is a look. Make sure that guy doesn't come up with the interception. He went into the bandstand. Did Ray Horton. Turner's mistake here, this may be a rookie mistake. You got to always think about making sure that if you can't catch it, the other guy doesn't catch it too. See him let up right there? Well, you got to stay on that guy. Make sure that there's no interception.
We had one, though, and Cincinnati stops the drive.
Light operation.
Bring up one back. Number 81, Darrell Turner, the rookie from Michigan State, who's caught 6 touchdown passes already. That time didn't get to the ball, but Ray Horton of Cincinnati did, and the Bengals have it back, stopping the Seattle drive. 1:11 to play 1st half. Joner swings it out to James Brooks. He's ahead for 12 yards and a Cincinnati 1st down.
At the line of scrimmage now they'll go. This is the 2-minute offense. 57, 56 seconds left.
Clock running down to 48 seconds to play. Markers are down. They're whistling the play dead.
Offsides on the defense. Whoa. Whoa, there hasn't been a call go in Cincinnati's direction today. I think they're calling Turk Shawnett for voice inflection. See if 15 gets it.
Number 74 offense, still 1st down.
Called Brian Plato.
The 300-pound rookie guard from North Carolina, Brian Platos, one of the #1 draft choices the Bengals have. They seem to always have a lot of #1 draft choices.
Yeah, they signed some of them. Some of them they don't.
Their top pick, Hundley, is playing for the Denver Broncos. They traded him. They couldn't sign him. Linebacker from Arizona. 1st and 15. Joner stands in. He throws. He's intercepted by Dave Brown. He could go. He's inside the 20. He's inside the 15. And with 35 seconds to play, the Seahawk defense comes up with its third turnover.
Exactly what Seattle wants in that defense. Shawnick was rushed just enough. It appeared that he was hit just as he let the ball go. Underthrown. Dave Brown there to pick it off. Now let's watch see if Shawnick from the right side isn't banged just a little bit. They fake the blitz. There's 77 Bryant. It's not him. It seems to me that somebody just hit him ever so slightly. Let's see Bryant. Right there it is. Now the ball is underthrown. Dave Brown there to make the reception. Interception. Seattle ball.
They could get more points before the half. As they've done all year long, the Seahawks come up with a big play on defense. An interception by Dave Brown, his 7th of the year, gives Seattle good field position with just 35 seconds to play in the first half. First and 10 Seahawks. Dave Craig runs out of trouble, hits Darrell Turner, and he is swept under as he comes in about the 13-yard line. 25 seconds to play, and the clock is stopped on a timeout.
Just to show you how proficient the Seattle Seahawks defense is, they've had 3 turnovers today, 2 of them inside the Bengals 50, and now right at the 15-yard line. Watch Dornick. Dr. Dornick not only carries the ball, but he's taken on a defensive end. I'd say that's a plus for Dan Dornick in that situation.
Ball is spotted at the 13-yard line. At halftime, we'll be going to NFL 84 in New York for the scores and the stories and the big plays of this 12th weekend to play. All the games count the same when they total them at the end of the year, but they seem to count a lot more down the stretch, don't they, Trump?
Yeah, you're right. And Don, don't you remember the comment that Chuck Knox made to us just before the ball game? He said, look, this team has been able to figure out a way to win, no matter what the circumstances, where they're playing, what the situation is. They come up with a way to win the football game. Today, the turnovers once again. Seattle playing in character, and the Bengals over the last 6 games are actually a +9 in the giveaway takeaway. Now it's down to a +6 with the 3 turnovers this afternoon.
So Dave Craig brings the Seahawks out of the huddle with a 2nd down and 8 coming up. Just 25 seconds to play in the half. He's looking in the end zone. There it is. Largent cut to the post, and it went wide, so it's a incomplete pass. It'll be 3rd and 8.
He threw it away. Norm Johnson can come in here and get him 3 points, and they'll settle for 3 points. You don't want another turnover down here.
Norm Johnson's been a kicking machine for Seattle. 16 of 18 field goals this season. His only misses were outside of 50 yards.
Don, I'll tell you, one of the reasons why he is so good, Blair Bush of the Seattle Seahawks, their center, is without question the best punt snapper and place kick snapper there is. Now, he's not snapping for punts because they want to protect him, but for place kicks, he is outstanding. There's Norm Johnson right there.
Number 9. This is 3rd and 8. Penalty markers. Markers down at the line of scrimmage as the clock is stopped with 12 seconds to go in the half. And Seattle in the lead 14-3. Dave Craig came in hitting 55% of his passes, and has the 2nd most touchdown throws of any QB in the league. Marino leads the league with 30.
Illegal motion against Seattle. That'll nullify the very short gain.
Dave Craig now 21 touchdown passes after that throw earlier in this quarter to Steve Largent.
And 16 interceptions.
Illegal motion. Number 80 on the offense. Penalty declined. 4th down.
They'll take the field goal. Largent's complaining. He's asking why.
Seattle's gotten some great players via the free agency. Norm Johnson's one of them. He's probably headed to the Pro Bowl, the American Conference leading scorer. He was a free agent. The quarterback Dave Craig, a free agent.
Yeah. Steve Largent is arguing as to where the ball should be spotted. Now, for some reason, the guy on the sideline moved the down marker, and the only real official spot they have now is where the pass completion was made. See, because Cincinnati declined the penalty, Seattle gets the gain.
Penalty is declined. It is 4th down.
And the pass reception is a completion. They were going to mark it where the play started as opposed to where the play ended.
Norm Johnson, one of those now rare straightaway kickers. Actually, he does kick it soccer style a little. As big a sweep in. He's there. So Johnson is now 17 for 19 on his field goal attempts, and the Seahawks extend their lead to 17-3 with just 8 seconds to play in the first half.
Don, you see that snap? Right on the money. Blair Bush put it right where Jim Zorn wanted it. Now watch. Watch how little he has to move his hands. Right there. Laces are almost facing the goalpost. The holder does not have to spin it. Johnson can just concentrate on the fat part of the football, and that's why he's so very successful.
It was a trade that I'm sure Blair Bush favored. Of course, he played collegiately at the University of Washington. He was a #1 draft choice of the Bengals, and it turns out that Seattle gave up a #1 to get him. But he's been worth it. He's anchored the offensive line. They've also gotten strength at the right tackle position, trading with New England for a former #1 of the Patriots in Bob Kreider.
Yeah, when the Bengals drafted Dave Remington out of Nebraska, they then traded Blair Bush to Seattle. Mike McCormick was the general manager for a couple of years, coached Blair Bush and knew his talents. Blair Bush, although not one of the real giants at center, technically and technique-wise, one of the best there is in the game.
Seahawks heading into those 2 big games down the stretch with the Denver Broncos. One next Sunday that many of you will see on NBC Sports. And the concluding regular season game on a Saturday for the Broncos, and the Seahawks will be at the Kingdome. By the onside kick, it's alertly fielded by the Bengals. They'll have the ball with virtually no time remaining as Gary Williams, number 84, picked it up.
Good catch.
6 seconds to play in the first half. But the boy's getting a little hot.
Yeah, well, it keeps you warm out there. You got to think that the Bengals have to throw the ball up. And you also have to think that Seattle is certainly waiting for it to play the 5 or 6 or 7 defensive back set. They come up with another turnover.
So Schoenert comes out with 1 play left in the half. He let it rip long. The last time he threw the ball, you'll remember, it was intercepted by Dave Brown, which Seahawks subsequently turned into that field goal moments ago by Johnson.
They got the punter in the ball game, Pat McInally, 87 on the far side.
He's also a wide receiver, big rangy wide receiver, as Schoenert takes the deep drop. That'll do it. First half ends with a sack by big Jeff Bryant. 45 sacks for the Seahawk defense. Bengals head off trying to regroup as the Seattle Seahawks are rolling with a 9-2 record, take a 17-3 halftime lead. They were concerned with the Seahawks about the bad weather. It hasn't bothered them.
No, surprisingly, Seattle's played very, very well. The Cincinnati Bengals are the ones that have turned the football over, and this is their home field, of course.
NFL 84 is coming up. The Seahawks have been winning by turning turnovers into points, and that's been the story today as Seattle in the first half converting the 3 Cincinnati turnovers into a 17-point first half and a 17-3 lead. And NFL 84 will be back with more about today's pro football action in a moment.
Fumbles inside the 10-yard line, and it's recovered by Jeff Bryant of the Seahawks. Cincinnati had driven 63 yards to that point. Later, it's James Brooks who coughs it up. Keith Butler recovers. The 52nd takeaway of the season for Seattle. After they'd established a 7-0 lead, David Craig went to work in the second quarter. With this scoring pass to Steve Largent, it made it 14-0 Seattle. Later, Norm Johnson and Jim Breach exchanged field goals, and Seattle leads at the half by a score of 17-3. Largent, by the way, has caught at least 1 pass in 103 consecutive games. St. Louis and the Giants, each a game back of the Redskins and the Cowboys in the tight NFC East. And at halftime, on a one-yard scoring run by quarterback Neil Lomax, the Cardinals lead it 7-0. At the Hoosier Dome in Indianapolis, they are late in the second quarter, and the Patriots are having their own way with the Colts by a score of 23-7. Frank Kush decided to start Art Schleister today, and Schleister did have his moments, but mostly it's been the Tony Eason and Derek Ramsey show. This 4-yard scoring pass made it 7-0 in the first quarter. Then the defense got into the act. Curtis Dickey carries, stopped in the end zone by a combination of Don Blackman and Roland James for a safety, and it's 9-zip. Then Eason, still in the first quarter, goes back to Ramsey again. It covers 25 yards, and it's 16-0. As we move ahead to second quarter action, Schleister escapes some trouble here as he looks to pass, eludes the rush, and then scampers in for a 13-yard touchdown. Although if you'll watch it here, it appears he should have been down at the 1 as he slides down, but they gave him the touchdown anyway. It was 16-7, and then Eason came back and hit Ramsey again. That combination has worked 3 times for touchdowns. The last one making it 23-7 in favor of the Patriots, and they are almost to halftime. And Washington at halftime leads Philadelphia 7-6 at Veterans Stadium in Philly. John Riggins has gone over 1,000 yards for the season for the 5th time in his career, and at age 35, Bill, he's the oldest man in NFL history to pass that 1,000-yard barrier.
Okay, Bob, Bears and Lions at Soldier Field, where the Bears have lost only once this year. They're at halftime. The Bears jumped out to a 10-0 lead, but the Lions have narrowed that lead to 3. Walter Payton has carried 17 times now for 48 yards. Dallas and Buffalo, a bit of a surprise. Dallas with a showdown against New England in 4 days. It may be on the Cowboys' minds today as Buffalo scored on the first play from scrimmage. Greg Bell's 85-yard run, and the Cowboys have yet to get anything going on offense. 7-3 Buffalo, a surprise at Rich Stadium. Cleveland and Atlanta, the Falcons have lost 5 straight, but one piece of good news, Steve Bartkowski is back at quarterback. Marty Schottenheimer looked on at Fulton County Stadium, where the Falcons have won only once this year, and Atlanta scored first. It came on a touchdown pass of 21 yards from Bartkowski, who has been sacked 5 times in the first half, to Stacey Bailey. Cleveland then came back, though. Paul McDonald hooks up with Bruce Davis. Davis, the rookie out of Baylor University, and he goes most of the 43 yards for the touchdown. Matt Barr added 2 field goals. That's the difference. 13-7 Cleveland at the half. The Rams and Green Bay. Eddie Lee Ivory has scored both Packer touchdowns. It is 14-6. They are now at halftime at County Stadium. Bob.
And for those who like to be very technical, John Henry Johnson was 35 years old in 1964, just as Riggins is, when he gained over 1,000 yards for Pittsburgh, but he was just a couple of months younger than Riggo. Back after these messages and a word from your local stations. And welcome back to the Halftime Show. This is a doubleheader Sunday on NBC. 3 more games still ahead to be seen in various parts of the country. Here's a preview. Kansas City plays the Raiders at the Coliseum, and the Jets are at Houston. But the feature game finds Miami taking on the Chargers at Jack Murphy Stadium in San Diego. Miami's Dan Marino has never played against the Chargers' Dan Fouts. But at his present pace, Marino will break Fouts' 1981 NFL record for passing yardage in a single season. Here's how Marino sees the game.
I think the ball is going to be thrown a lot, but I also think that, there's going to be some running involved too. I know that we're going to try to run the ball, but I think that it all depends how the game goes. Maybe there'll be a lot of throwing, maybe more than usual.
Meanwhile, the Chargers' Charlie Joyner is also thinking about a record. He needs 9 more catches to overtake Charlie Taylor and become the leading receiver in NFL history. Now, that stat may be significant, but Pete Axthelm, you tell me you've got one that is of even greater importance.
Well, Bob, since I didn't make a pick on the Dolphin game, I felt I owed it to the audience to come up with the most obscure stat of the decade. My man Dan Gordon came up with this one. Miami is 1-3 versus non-divisional opponents before divisional opponents on national TV games. They have the Jets next Monday night, so they're at a disadvantage.
And just what are we to infer from that?
Absolutely nothing.
Oh, I see.
The person in the audience who knew that stat is entitled to write in and get a copy of the Ahmad Rashad Celebrity Calendar. The Dolphins, I must say, are in a bit of a lull now. They're looking ahead to December 2nd against the Raiders. They got by the Eagles. I think they'll get by the Chargers, but in a shootout against Fouts, I think it'll be a very good game, high scoring, and maybe closer than people expect.
That's right. As a matter of fact, only 12% of Ahmad's friends have not appeared on the cover of People magazine, and so this week he had no famous friends to invite to the studio except Gumby. So Gumby is here in the studio with us. Ahmad, Kansas City at the Raiders. Neither one of these clubs playing well. Getting to a serious subject here.
Well, I spent the week with the Raiders, and in lieu of the fact that they lost the game on Monday, I could have had a better assignment. I could have spent the week with the Raiderettes, but, you know, such is the tough work of television business. But I talked to Howie Long about urgency, because they're in a situation where they need to win now. And he said to me, if you can imagine being in a house, all the doors locked, and the house burning down, if you can imagine that, can you imagine that?
Oh, I certainly can imagine that, yes.
He said it's even worse than that.
It's worse than that, is it?
Then he laughed. He was only joking, actually. But they are a team that's been in this situation before. They're looking at it like we've got to play better, and we've got to play better now. They haven't played badly defensively, but turnovers have killed them. And it's a weird thing about turnovers. You can go into the game, play extremely well, and at the end of the game, you lose the game because of turnovers. I talked to Coach Flores about turnovers. He said the only thing that you can try to repair is like your passing offense. If the quarterback's maybe forcing the ball a little bit, you can talk to him, have him try to throw the ball in different places. But as far as fumbles go, there's really nothing you can do. Nobody's trying to fumble. Just got to hold on to the ball and try to win football games.
And a reminder, ladies and gentlemen, you don't get this kind of insight anywhere.